Hello and welcome everyone to this session where we will be discussing brand building with Amazon DSP, and I'll be figuring out how to say words. My name is Jeremiah Chambers. I'm the VP of Sales over here at DataHawk, and I'll be hosting this panel discussion today. Before we begin, I just want to give a sincere thank you to all of you in attendance, our panelists, and to all of you listening to the recording. Just by being part of this summit, you're helping us build a community of Amazon sellers, agencies, and brands, and we're all helping each other with business best practices and becoming better together. So thank you so much for attending today. So without further ado, let's introduce our panelists. So with me today is the legendary duo of Max Hoffman of BidX and Eric O'Granning from the stable. So let me give you a little bit of background on our panelists today. So a little bit about Max Hoffman. In 2015, Max got a start by selling baby safety equipment on Amazon. The business grew, and so did the effort to manage ads. He was able to basically get to the problem of manually optimizing each single campaign and their keywords. However, he was not alone. All his seller friends had the same problem, and neglecting would mean a loss of visibility and ranking, as well as wasting a lot of money on unoptimized campaigns. So in 2017, he teamed up with Nadine Chopper, who studied computer science, to start BidX, the first software at the time to support Amazon sellers to grow and scale their business by automating ads on and off Amazon. Today, BidX's 45-person team supports more than 2,000 sellers around the world to optimize more than $200 million in ad spend with offices in Darmstadt, Germany, and New York, USA. Thank you very much for being here, Max. I appreciate it. And with him is Eric O'Granning. So Eric is a seasoned digital advertising and performance marketer working with brands for over a decade within search, social, programmatic, and retail media spaces. He currently serves as director of client advertising at The Stable, a commerce agency connecting brands with consumers across all channels, both retail and direct to consumer. Previous to his work at The Stable, Eric worked with ad tech space at Sky, formerly known as Kinshu, as client services director and client onboarding manager. Eric also spent 3 years with iProspect, supporting General Motors global business and their brands such as OnStar, bringing products and services to the market. Needless to say, these two have a lot of great things to share with us today. So let's go over some of the topics that we'll be covering. So as you see on the screen here, we're going to be covering what is Amazon demand side platform. This is something that is there to enable sellers, and we're going to be diving into what it is, how to build your brand with Amazon DSP, who's able to use the service, and a whole lot more. We'll see what we can do with our time here. So getting us started, I'm going to stop sharing so we can get to just the discussion here. Max, if you wouldn't mind getting us kicked off, I would love for you to just share with everybody, what is Amazon DSP?
So first of all, thank you for having us today, and thank you for the introduction. So the Amazon DSP stands for demand-side platform, is just another platform kind of that Amazon in that case is offering. You can also go to other DSPs like Google or Taboola. So DSPs generally allow any advertisers to programmatically access inventory across the whole internet. And what this allows advertisers to do now, especially Amazon sellers who were like limited to advertise only on Amazon, to also advertise off Amazon and to have much precise control on who to target, who's the audience, which credit card are they using, are they living in a rental apartment, do they own a house, on Amazon, off Amazon, on desktop, on mobile. So it gives you a really wide access to target actually everybody across the whole internet and to tap in that untouched inventory with Amazon first-party data.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Max. So it sounds like it can definitely be a valuable tool to have in your toolbox, especially as an Amazon seller or brand. So Eric, I'm just curious, of course, everyone out here is probably curious as well, about how do you build your brand with Amazon DSP? And I'm curious what your thoughts might be on that.
Yeah, definitely. As Max said, it's really about being able to access a broader consumers outside of just the Amazon ecosystem. So first and foremost, I would say it's really developing what is that persona, that brand identity that you're wanting to exemplify to customers, and really having a clear value prop to the consumer. Once you've shaped that, then it's really determining what are the best vehicles within an Amazon DSP experience that you can bring to life for the consumer. There's rich opportunities to do streaming TV now, where we're actually putting commercial ready content into our connected TVs, and also mobile and desktop experiences with video. Not only it is much more than it used to be, beyond just standard display and banner ads that a lot of the internet advertising has been built on. So really, it's starting out with who you're trying to reach, and then defining whether or not the DSP has that consumer to be able to map it against your brand and who you're looking to connect with.
Yeah, Eric, thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like we're kind of moving away from thinking all of our potential buyers are just going to be in front of a computer screen, and now it sounds like we're okay. Let's figure out where our buyers are and meet them where they are a little bit. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and it's even going as far as now, for those that are in the U.S., the Whole Foods grocer is now part of the Amazon ecosystem. And now Amazon has even made first-party data available of those grocer people that are in a actual aisle of a Whole Foods available to target across the internet. So maybe you're looking for the next ketchup or the next condiment sauce. You can target that individual right on Amazon, or even outside of Amazon, using that first-party data.
Yeah. Speaking of ketchup, shout out to Sir Kensington's. That was advertised to me, and I bought that one. But Max, I'm curious. When you're thinking about building a brand using DSP, what other thoughts maybe could you share about how one could leverage this tool?
So most of our clients are Amazon sellers. So for them, it's easy to think about Amazon DSP as soon as they maxed out all the PPC stuff with sponsored product ads, sponsored brand, sponsored display ads. And then if an Amazon seller would like to go beyond to drive incremental sales by keeping kind of the same efficiency, then they should think about Amazon DSP, because that is like a great opportunity to market to an audience that was perhaps already in the past in contact with your product, visited product detail pages, but did not purchase the product. That's great for remarketing, retargeting, and then you can go all the way up through the sales funnel, and then we talk more about building the brand, what Eric just mentioned. But if you are not an Amazon seller, then you can also make use of the Amazon DSP. So let's say you're a car manufacturer, an OEM, or you are like a bank, then you can access all the information from the Amazon customers. And that, as Eric mentioned, goes far beyond just Amazon.com as a website. It includes what are people buying as groceries in store, what are people watching on Prime Video, which music are they listening to. And these information are crucial because Google knows what you are looking for and what you're searching, Facebook knows what you like, but Amazon really knows what you're going to buy, what you bought in the past, and your purchasing power. And this is a great opportunity, and it's like really rich and valuable information that everybody, all companies, either you're selling or you're not selling on Amazon, can tap into.
And I would add to this that, as we're seeing the cookieless kind of trend that is coming through privacy across the globe, we're seeing the need to find these new additional audiences that we are losing out on from the historical Google environment, the Facebook and Instagram environments. And when you have this rich first-party data that Amazon has, being able to leverage that as a brand is huge. And the consumer can feel safe that there truly are anonymized in this, and that it is really just their consumer shopping behavior that's being modeled out compared to, hey, I liked this political party, or I'm into these particular brands, or whatever the clubs I'm part of. Very different. It's very low funnel and consumer purchase behavior based.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And so it's not just enabling the sellers and the brands, it's really enabling the buyer as well. I think all of us as consumers, we like a more easy shopping experience, and we want to be directed to the products that we would be more likely to buy. I think that's very true there. So it sounds like, again, this could be a really interesting tool. So if someone was getting started with Amazon DSP, and either of you can jump in on this one, is how would someone take that first step and begin accessing the demand side platform?
Yeah, I'll kick it off by just reiterating what Max said, is that you really should be leveraging first and foremost all the sponsored ads offerings, with sponsored display being that kind of putting your toe in the water end of things. If you've maximized all those areas, the next thing is really just determining what is going to be the most cost efficient, best method for you to engage with Amazon DSP. So there's really kind of three different flavors. There is managed services directly through Amazon. So that is working with an Amazon account executive. And sometimes that can be a little more challenging to get access to that individual or the groups within there. It's usually based around spend thresholds, and as an early seller, you may not always meet those criteria. And they also have a really much higher bar of barrier to entry in terms of the investment requirements. So usually it's $30,000 plus per month, and that's USD I'm talking. So, depending on the market you're in, it could be, varying dollars. But that is a much higher investment for some brands, and not really knowing when they're testing the waters. The other avenue would be engaging with an actual agency partner that has their own DSP seat, as we call it. And they're going to have a much lower barrier to entry, but have all the same capabilities and tools and functionality. So whether it's a partner like The Stable, or another agency, that can be an avenue. And really there is a third one, which is through platform partners like BidX and others that might have a DSP seat as well, that could be helping you leverage the DSP and create advertiser instances for you.
Yeah, and for you, Max, any different perspective that you may have on that when guiding somebody if they're considering adding DSP into their stack?
So generally, I agree with that, what Eric said. It's in Europe, I know the entry barrier is a little bit less, but that's due to the fact that everything in Europe is just smaller. So houses are smaller, cars are smaller, and also the amount that people invest into advertising is smaller, but also like the market and what they are seeing in sales is smaller. So probably it's then roughly the same when relative looking at it. From our perspective, it makes sense if you spend at least 10 to 15K per month on paid PPC on Amazon, then to think about how you could extend that with using the Amazon DSP. But below, and also like Eric mentioned that for Amazon, it's at least 30K per month. I know that some agencies are doing it starting with like 3K per month. That is like 1/10. But this is also from our past experience, the minimum amount that you should plan to invest of at least 3 months. So if you try out a test flight, then you should invest at least 9 to 10K. And that is like the bottom, because you have to build these audiences. If you don't have enough data, the audience will fail during the creation process, because Amazon cannot guarantee that all the information is anonymized, and then they say, okay, we can't do it because it would be too precise if you just target like 5 people. So audience have to be big enough. And then you have products only that also generate enough traffic and where you also spend enough on the PPC side that DSP makes sense. But other than that, I would always say you should plan on getting in touch with an agency partner to build. I would always recommend to work with an agency partner in that case, just because of communication will be so much better from past experience, because agencies take so much more care about their clients because probably they just have a couple of hundreds or thousands and not millions, kind of like some other player in that industry have. And we see many clients that have been working with the platform itself and we're kind of frustrated about lack on information about how the ad spend is used, about the transparency, how the orders look like, which audiences are targeted, and so on. And you get much better communication and much better transparency in general from every agency provider I know so far than working with somebody else.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's when you go with an agency or a platform provider that has that access to those DSP seats, I would say that to Max's point, there's more dedicated interest in the brand, but there's a different model and revenue stream here. So the agencies and the platform partners have their best interest in seeing the brand grow and get additional sales, and DSP is just kind of added to that. Where Amazon is looking at DSP as its own independent revenue source. They want to see ad spend be spent regardless of performance, because it's their revenue model in that particular group. And they may not have the same interest to see a brand actually do well in sales. So when we look at kind of how to establish that relationship, the right one, definitely the agency or platform partner is going to be the better avenue to go. And in my opinion, and I think Max seems to agree as well. And then from there, it's really just establishing what are we trying to do from a full funnel perspective? How do we build the brand? What's the use case of the DSP platform?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's always like this, but probably if you are like a bigger advertiser for Amazon and you spend a couple of millions each single month, then no question asked, you get the service you deserve. But if you just spend a couple of thousand, then you are like a tiny one, and then it's like difficult. And this is like, it doesn't matter in which industry you are. Somebody who's going to spend 100x from a small client will get a different service.
Yeah, and there's some really great programs that only Amazon's going to be able to offer through their managed services. I've most recently seen an opportunity for the Thursday night football with the NFL, which not everyone in the world may know this, but the NFL is the National Football League. Huge program to be able to stream your commercials and TV spots. Those are going to be held out for the most highest spending advertisers and really only going to be accessible through a managed service. And an agency may just not have the access to it. They may have the relationships to build that connection, but they may not be able to manage it for a brand directly. And that's more of an example, not exactly the rule. So.
Yeah. And I mean, it definitely sounds like for many of these brands and sellers, an agency is kind of an accelerator for them. It helps them navigate those very competitive waters much more cleanly and quickly. So definitely some good advice there. And then one thing, just kind of keying in, heard about. So depending on what type of seller it is, sounds like if you have a smaller market, a very niche market with maybe a very high, like a much higher priced product, maybe DSP isn't something that you want to consider as one of your first solutions to deploy. But for most sellers out there that are selling in volume, this is where they could get some traction. Is that right, or am I a little off?
It depends. So I can give you an example of a very high ASP, high product price point product that needs that extra selling in through the full funnel. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm the $500 TV, and I'm not the $200 or $150 TV, you may need to have that extra touch points through the DSP to kind of sell in the idea that your TV has the best value, or why is the price point worthwhile converting on. So yes, I would agree from a turnkey perspective and early starting up, DSPs can help really kind of cut through the noise and give you that kind of the edge for additional eyeballs and more glance fees on your pages for your low ASP products. But when you're thinking about the brand building and the bringing equity value to a high price point, DSP actually brings a lot more value, even though it comes at a higher cost in many cases.
Yeah, I think like combining high selling price and niche, this could be something where we have troubles in creating the audiences, but just high prices is no problem at all. And like a TV, probably everybody nowadays has multiple TVs at home, and they are gonna purchase also multiple TVs in the future, and they always cost a couple of $100 or $1,000. And there, as Eric mentions, it makes sense to, especially if your product is like a new invention that did not exist before, to have video image material that can just tell the whole story, and also not only help explaining the product and building up the funnel, but also then building the whole brand to come back to the topic that we have today.
No, thank you for clarifying that quite a bit, and I'm sure it was probably helpful for quite a few people in the audience as well, hearing about that. So we have a few more minutes, and I think if we had to kind of maybe end on one question to hear from both of you on. So what setup and strategy do you recommend someone start with? I know this is that could be kind of a broad question, but really would like to hear from both of you there. And Max, why don't you kick us off on that one, if you don't mind?
So as mentioned, most of our clients are Amazon sellers. So mostly we directly talk with the marketing manager or with the CEO, and then decisions are made within a couple of hours or a couple of days. So it's a pretty straightforward process. And also the sellers are mostly focused on return on investment. So they say, I give you as lot money as you'd like to have, as long as you can deliver me that return, and as long as I see incremental sales on my total ads and on my total revenues. So when I currently do 500K a month, and then I invest 50K into the DSP, and my total sales do not increase, then this is it's just gone. I probably reached many thousand people and got like great CPMs, but the return is probably then only seeable in a couple of weeks and months. So when talking about the most efficient ads, we always start with remarketing ads. So all the people who viewed your product in the past days, did not purchase the product, show them the ad. For instance, if it's a medium priced product, probably $30, then show them the ad probably over a period of 10 to 15 days. Then the next one is competitor retargeting. So target all the ASINs that are pretty similar to your own ASIN, target them, say everybody who viewed the competitor products but did not purchase any of the competitor or your products, show them the ad. The next one is loyalty. So if you have a product that is consumed within 3 months, so probably after 2.5 months, the people are coming back to purchase again, then show them the ads. This is like the most efficient what we see, but it does not have to do too much with brand building, upper funnel stuff. This is just at the very bottom. So for the upper and middle funnel, I think Eric can contribute much more.
Yeah. So when we move, above that kind of we're already past the point of I'm in market, I'm consideration, or I've already viewed the product, or I've already purchased the product. Now we got to move up a little further. So we're thinking more awareness and prospecting of brand new potential customers. I'm thinking an example of, hey, I'm a new type of topping for pizzas, well, then I'm going to go and target people that buy frozen pizzas and maybe change their minds, or maybe they've bought recently a pizza oven. So I'm, getting those people that maybe have not even thought about my new topping. I want to bring in the idea of it early on. Their new pizza endeavors that are going through. And so now I'm going to show them a video. So really starting with that awareness, prospecting of the new potential customers, and then move them into, okay, they've watched my video, they've engaged with it through the whole thing or even a portion of it. Now I'm going to show them a display ad to say, hey, you looked at my ad, you saw my commercial. Why don't you consider actually like visiting the detail page or my brand store, learn a bit more, get more invested. And as you go through, you build this consumer journey throughout, and then you're really hitting exactly where Max has gone through, where it's, hey, we're retargeting. We're, also looking at, hey, I also have this particular version of my product. Well, here, check out this other version of my product. And now you're getting a cross-sell opportunity. So there's a much fuller funnel, as a very traditional funnel. But I would also say, as I mentioned in some prior conversations with Max, you throw a bird's nest on top of this, and that's really the consumer journey. As they're coming in and out the whole process, it's not going to be always just linear, that perfect. It could take multiple hits of them seeing that commercial 6 times before it resonates, and they're just hungry enough to buy that ingredient for their next pizza. So that's kind of the example of how we approach it.
Of course, and of course you bring up pizza ingredients. I haven't had lunch and I'm really hungry now. But we're getting just really close to our time here. So folks, I don't know about you, but I've heard a lot of really good stuff today. I've learned a lot about DSP and how it could be leveraged. And, as you're navigating these waters, you can go out there and try it yourself, or you can call on some experts. We got a couple right here. So I'm just curious. So Max, if somebody's want to interact with BidX, where do they go?
So just go to our website, www.bidx.io. And there we have on the pricing a link to the DSP, and then you can reach out to us.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then Eric, and then the stable, where would folks go to interact with you and the team over there?
Thestable.com, and you will find all the services and capabilities we have, both retail and direct to consumer, and then some. So definitely come check out our new site. Brand new as of, I think, 2 weeks ago.
All right. It's still got that new site smell too. It's wonderful. So for everybody, again, I want to thank both of you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge with us, share your expertise with us. For those of you out there, again, I mentioned earlier, thank you so much for attending this session. And for those of you listening to a recording, thank you for doing that. You're helping build this better community. And as Eric was saying, him and Max are working together, talking about these different topics and sharing best practices with each other. And for you, whether it's yourself or someone else that in the community that might need support, guide them to BidX, guide them to the stable. And there's a lot of folks out there that can help you. And of course, us at Data Hawk, we can always help you out too. But there's still a lot of great information to be had in this summit. If you're able to hop into the next session, harnessing the power of social media to drive marketplace growth is next. So definitely recommend you tune in. Thank you very much, gentlemen, once again. I appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great day.